Preparing. We're live. We'll do it live.
Going live.
And this is the point where right here, when it says this meeting is being live streamed, it says got it. And there's also leave meeting right next to it. And that one time as I clicked the leave meeting, like immediately after we went live. And that's why I dipped out like right away.
And it makes perfect sense.
Yeah. So anyone who is watching this live or otherwise, this is the 21st, I think till midnight, the $1,500 bug out bag giveaways still live. So I just posted the link in the chat and it'll be in the description after we're
nice.
Not live too. So it does say only internet or only US people, but if you're in wherever, Canada or anywhere else, if you are willing to pay for the addition, anything beyond like $30 or whatever it costs to ship it, I'll cover the first $30 and then if you do win and you're in Canada, I'll at least give you the option like, hey, do you want to find out how much it costs? And
so pretty much what you're saying is you're giving a bug out bag, $1,500 bug out bag for
$50, whatever, maybe 30, 25, depending on, because I imagine depending on where you're at, it wouldn't cost more than $100 total for me to ship it to you, and then I'll cover 30 of it. So
okay, well, that's not bad.
But I just can't guarantee that I'll ship it to you if you're outside the US. So enter at your own. You don't lose anything, I guess. So
well, you know what, there's people that follow me that are in the States and stuff, so I imagine you should let them know exactly where to go to get that.
Yeah, the link will be in the chat, or you can go to rulethewastelandblog.com, and the first post right now has it. So rulethewastelandblog.com, or you can go all over the link to past couple videos, my Twitter, wherever, and you'll be able to find it. So hey, nice to see everybody. I know it's been a couple weeks. So much going on in the world. I don't have a topic really, so we're just going to talk about any of the major stuff that's been going on.
Well, there's so much things going on. I was actually one of the things that so I don't know how it is down in the States, but I know up here in Canada we took a lot of Ukrainian refugees in.
Oh yeah,
because it's the thing that Canada likes to do. But anyway,
I haven't heard a lot of that in the States. We've been giving them billions of dollars, but I don't think they.
Well, I don't know. I seen one complaining on TikTok yesterday, and it just fucking sent me the wrong way for the simple fact that she's like, I don't think Canada's right for me. It's been a year.
Oh, the so-called refugees said this?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and they went back, right?
Oh, well, I think the money ran out, so that's probably why she's complaining. And it's a bit of a shit show. But I don't get it. Like we got I don't know how bad it is down in the States, but we got thousands upon thousands of people that are homeless.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And she's in a nice, comfortable fucking living room saying that Canada isn't right for her anymore.
Yeah, we got veterans no less down here a lot too. A lot of them are having issues, and whether or not they're actually homeless or not. And then the huge deal here right now is that we're maxed up against the $32 trillion debt ceiling. And meanwhile, there's just talking about how much they're like, oh, we did an accounting error and all that stuff we sent to Ukraine. It was actually worth $3 billion less. So now we can send them $3 billion more worth of stuff. And it's just like, you're simultaneously trying to argue about whether we're allowed to borrow more money because we're spending money we don't have and we're giving it away. And it's crazy how fast it's gone. Like I was looking up just to refresh myself on the timeline. And right now we're at something like $31.5 trillion in the national debt. It hit 20 trillion in like 2017 or something.
Right.
So it took like all of United States history up to like 2008 or something to get to 10 trillion. Then it like doubled within a decade, and then it like another 10 trillion within just a couple years, somewhere in the 2 to 4 year range. So it's just going to get great. It'll hit 50, then 100 at some point. But
I really, a lot of people now they think it's going to get to the point where it's going to be just like the 80s up here in Canada, where people are just walking away from their homes. I don't think the majority of people are ready for what's going to happen. And everyone's like, well, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. They always say it's going to happen and it never does. But then
it is happening. It's happening right now. Look at
exactly
mortgage rates and everything else.
I don't know. It's a bit of a shit show about how people are looking at it, but I don't know, man. It's not going to get better. It's not.
Well, I mean, maybe eventually, but it's going to get worse before it gets better. That's for sure. Yeah, the current 30-year fixed rate mortgage in the U.S. is somewhere between 6.25% to 6.8%. And I got my house exactly. I moved in exactly 2 years ago. I got 2.5%, which was like daylight robbery in my mind. Even though the prices were already crazy, I was like, I saw the writing on the wall, and I was like, I would have borrowed $10 million at that that 2.5% if they would have let me.
And you guys have a lot of stuff down in the States that are cheaper than it is up here in Canada.
If you go to the right spots, you can find, if you go to you can find houses in Ohio, and if you go to Georgia, like there's lots of areas where you can find cheap stuff. The average in the US is over 400,000 now, I think. But that's buoyed up by these multi-million-dollar houses. Like,
right,
everything is still gone up, but yeah, there are at least options depending on where you live. But yeah, I know your guys' real estate is even, and in Europe, like London and stuff, it's like out of control.
I don't really get how people think that. I guess they've never seen it before, so that's probably why they're thinking to themselves, "Oh, it's just going to be like last month, or it's just going to be like last year, or what have you." And it's they don't see it. They don't see the thing right in front of them.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy how quick people get into that like normalcy bias. Because if we had told these same people 5 years ago about the way things are now, they would have said the same thing. They're like, no, that's not going to happen. But now that they're in it, they're like, oh, well, this is the way things are. That's just normal. And then, in the future, nothing is going to change. And you're like, look at how much has changed just over the past 10 years, or let alone like past 2 years.
Right. And really, the big thing is, going back about spending all this billions upon billions of dollars to the Ukraine. Well, it's odd. I was thinking the other day that like our leader, Grand Supreme Overlord, went from like $10 million bank account to like 385 million in 2 years.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to kind of see that. Yeah, sure, Canada's given $2 or $3 billion to the Ukraine. It's probably a lot higher now. But what if the Ukraine only received maybe $1 billion in spending, and then the other $1 billion was kind of spread over to his other cronies that
I guarantee you that's happening. Where that was the whole scandal of I don't know exactly how much of it's been proven, but a lot of that with the what was that big crypto FTX? Was it FTX? That guy was like, it was a huge money laundering operation. Like they would send the money to overseas, specifically Ukraine, and they would like invest it in these shit coins and stuff. And then that company would then give a bunch of huge donations to these Democratic politicians. Stalker says, where's Shay? He's hopefully going to be here. This was kind of a last minute one where I just threw it in our chat and said, hey, I'm going to go live tonight. So didn't get a chance to find out if they were free. Luckily, Dan was free. Not sure about Shay, but he may drop in.
I'm just going to switch.
It had been my fault for the past couple weeks while we weren't here, so I wanted to make sure I did something, but I didn't know for sure until like literally it was like an hour ago that I was just like, hey, let's do it. So hopefully he can make it, but I didn't give him a lot of advance notice. So that's my bad. But as far as I know, pre-recorded. As far as I know, as far as I know, he's still rocking the free world, as free as it is up there for you guys. But yeah, it's getting weird. And now we, in the World War III news, it's pretty much accepted that Bakhmut has fallen. I've seen some weird shit about the Kiev Independent News or whatever was trying to claim that they did it on purpose and now they're going to encircle them. It's major cope because they were saying, Zelensky was just saying in front of Congress like a couple months ago how important it is that they hold Bakhmut and why this matters so much for the war and why you should send us a bunch of money. And now that it's basically fallen, they're being like, well, it doesn't matter. Look how much we did it on purpose to cost them a bunch of resources, and now we're going to encircle them and all this other nonsense that is obviously not true. I just don't know, because like I'm not pro-Russia in the sense like I don't want them to win, and I'm not pro-Ukraine either. I don't really have a dog in the fight other than I don't want to see innocent people die on either side. And regardless of what's going on, 99.9% of people on both sides are innocent. You know what I mean? They're just soldiers. They're just people that live in these countries. They're not involved in the decision-making process at all. So I'd rather not have Russians or Ukrainians die. And I think that they're doing this in the way that's going to maximize the deaths on both sides. So that's unfortunate. But I will say that it certainly feels like I've been lied to a hell of a lot more blatantly and maliciously by the pro-Ukrainian sources than I have been by pro-Russian sources. That's for damn sure.
You know, I almost feel that, you know, I keep seeing over here in Canada, Ukraine flags here. Everybody's,
right,
you know, flying the Ukraine flags. I want to go and just say, hey, I noticed you got a Ukraine flag. Can I put your name down for this petition to stop the war?
Right.
And then basically have their, you know, have their name, their age, you know, phone number and stuff like that. And then start calling these, but like, yeah, you signed up for this, Ukraine needs soldiers, and basically I've noticed that it says your age here is 55. You're too old, but do you have a son and daughter that we can ship over to the Ukraine? And I guarantee, you know, people will fly a Ukraine flag or they'll fucking be waving shit, but as soon as they have to get involved, all that shit would start coming down, and people would be like, no, I'm not doing that.
And I've said that I've literally done that to people, because this is a weird situation where, you know, probably wasn't the case in a lot of other conflicts, but they are literally accepting volunteers. Like, if you can go fight in Ukraine if you really feel that strongly about it. Like, don't tell me what should happen. They're taking fucking volunteers.
Oh, 100%. And people, you know what? It's people hiding behind the keyboard bullshit. And yeah, it's one of those things that as soon as they have to, you know, do any sort of things, they'll throw money at it, or they'll throw you know, a flag up. But as soon as they have to get physical or have to go somewhere, I guarantee you, every single one of those every single one of those flags would come down, and nobody would say shit.
Yeah, I said that to some guy at the casino when I was playing cards, and it was like some older dude. And I was like, "You're pretty." Like, he was wearing the mask still, and I'm like, "Bro, you won't even come play a poker game because you're afraid of getting a cold, but you want to go like fight World War III against a country with 5,000 nuclear weapons." I'm like, "You can go over there if you want." I'm like, I joined the army. It's your turn now. Let's see it.
Yeah, no kidding. I just to answer Stoker 777. Yes, I will be going to the Canadian Prepper Expo. I'm really looking forward to it. Shay's actually asked me to teach.
Nice.
So I have.
What are you teaching?
Well, I think I'm gonna teach
beard management.
Yeah, exactly. How to shit in the woods, and you know. No, I'll probably.
There's actually a book. My dad sent me a book called "How to Shit in the Woods."
Nice.
Because we had this foible where we were camping in BLM land outside of Joshua Tree, and I had this like free camp chairs that I got from the casino, like those folding camp chairs. They're like the Walmart ones. It was Chinese garbage, you know, because they handed it away free at the casino. And so we were like, let's make a toilet out of it. So we just like cut a hole in the seat and like drop it down. And one of my friends went to use it, and he was like, "Nah, bro, there's shit all over it now. It didn't work."
Yeah, that's pretty rough. I'm going to do early warning devices, you know, a good class on why things are seen. And I think I'm going to touch on route markers.
On what?
Route markers. Remember those things we used to use in the military when we had to go from point A to point B?
Yeah.
But it's going to be... you know, it was nice and easy in the military because it was just a arrow to go left, and then a right arrow to go right, and a straight arrow to go straight. But
yeah,
oh shit, am I allowed to say straight on YouTube now? I know we're kind of in a woke environment.
That's funny. Yeah. There's all sorts of stuff you can do that. Should be a cool class.
Yeah, you know what? It seems like I was quite surprised. Take it back, actually. I was pretty happy about it. So it's nice to kind of get back into the old teaching again, just like the old military. But yeah, it'd be good.
It was funny. We had to do land nav exercises, you know, for various times when I was in the military. And it was one of those things where you'd have to go find the points, you know, they give you good coordinates, and you would have to go find them in the woods or whatever. And it was one of those things where I was always like, this is it. This is the time. I can't get it. I'm nowhere. Oh, there it is. But like every time I thought, I was like, I'm hopelessly lost this time. I'm never going to find it.
Yeah, but weren't you an officer?
Yeah, so I'm supposed to
Yeah,
get lost.
I'm surprised you're here right now. Like you should be still out looking for those fucking
Right.
points.
See, I rose above the average because I would like meticulously check everything and be like the terrain features, pace count, everything. And so I was like, I am not fucking getting lost out here. Although
Yeah, it's
I did get lost in Kuwait. Hopeless. There's like 4 roads. I don't know how we did it.
wow. That's one place you'd never want to. Well, that in Afghanistan, but
Well,
Jesus.
Kuwait was chill because it was. I mean, we were driving around a civilian vehicle on like regular roads and stuff. So
Right.
we were, we're technically it was considered a war zone at the time, or it was in theater, but it wasn't. It wasn't anything. We're just driving around being like, where was that? It was like the dead camel that we use as a marker was back there, so we should be going this way.
So I know a few people have asked, what type of things that people should be, stocking up on. It actually came across on a thing on TikTok, and I was like, yeah, basically you're going to want to stock guns, ammo, gold, and silver. And a lot of people are saying, well, gold and silver are going to be useless because you can't eat it, you can't drink it.
Yeah, I'm talking. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, you bought silver? What is that, gold?
Yeah, I've had gold for a long time. This is a gold buffalo. Love it, man.
Wow. What did that cost down in the States?
This is an ounce, so I don't remember exactly when I got it, but now it's worth about $2,000. It was slightly less when I bought it.
Huh.
But I'd like to 1 ounce of pure gold.
Fucking hit you over the head for that, actually. But
that's why you gotta get the guns too, because other people.
Well, that's true. That's true. Well, I get you at a distance.
Yeah.
People are saying, "Oh no, what's the point of having gold and silver? Because you can't eat it, you can't drink it."
Yeah.
But the way I look at it, you can be using that type of stuff for the first couple weeks in a complete and total collapse, because everyone's going to think, oh, fuck, the power's eventually going to come back on, or,
right.
Oh, things are going to right itself. So,
and it's unlikely that that's going to be the entire world. Like even let's say like a realistic worst case scenario, like we get EMP'd by the Chinese, total grid down, Mad Max throughout the whole country. Like that's still just this country. It's not the whole world. So people would know that you could still take gold to South America or anywhere
100%.
else and still use it.
It's just one of those things that people think that it's going to be complete. You're not going to be saving your gold and silver, 6 months into a catastrophic event. You're going to use it for the first couple of weeks. Maybe you got to get through a checkpoint.
Yeah.
Or if you have to bribe somebody, or, maybe pick up some stuff that you haven't picked up since, there's, oh shit, I got to get more of this. So the first couple of weeks, you can always use that stuff.
Yeah, the gold and silver, and it's a silver bar. And anytime someone says that about like gold and silver will be useless, blah, blah, it's because they have one scenario in their mind that they're envisioning for some sort of shit hit the fan. And you can take any piece of gear from a gun to a sun oven to stored food and find a scenario where that you're not going to be able to use it because blank and blank and blank and blank has happened. You know what I mean? So what's the point of going, like, you can't eat an axe either, so, right. And you can't start a fire with your food storage. So like everything has a purpose, everything that we do, and so like not getting gold and silver because of you have this one scenario in your mind where it's not going to be useful is not smart, in my opinion.
Right. Oh yeah. And people just kind of see that, they think of what they saw on TV, and
right.
And that's the scenario they go off of, which is unfortunate because, it's going to happen to be like, oh, fuck, well, Jesus, I didn't see that on YouTube, or I didn't see that on, HBO. How am I going to survive this apocalypse?
Yeah, exactly. And I even mentioned I did a video a couple months or weeks ago about that exactly in the Survival in the Killing Fields, a guy wrote about his experience in the Cambodian genocide. And that was pretty much an epic shit the fan scenario. And the only reason he got out is because he had a couple pieces of gold that he'd hidden in his waistband like for years, and to bribe the border guards going out into Thailand. It's the only way they were able to get out. So.
Why? Yeah. And that is funny. I went out and I brought a couple pieces of silver with me, and I was tipping the waitresses an ounce of silver just because.
That's legit.
Just because, for shits and giggles. And it was funny. I was probably about 3 servers one was like, "Oh, this is the coolest thing I ever got in my life. I'm going to keep it forever." And I'm thinking to myself, she has no idea that this is worth $35.
Right.
You know, you just got a $35 tip. And then this other one, you know, she got it and she was just like, "Oh, thanks." Again,
Yeah.
not realizing that, you know, this thing's $35. Like,
Yeah.
it's quite comical.
Yeah, and we're seeing. I made a video just recently about like in Argentina. It's been this way a while in the U.S. with a couple of the coins where like the metal value is worth more than the coin's worth, and I'm not sure if that's happened in Canada or not. But like 82 and prior pennies have more than a cent worth of copper in them. Nickels have more than 5 cents worth of nickel in them. That sort of thing. And so that shows you that I still think it's better to put that money into gold or silver just because it's easier to deal with and extract that value. But
Right.
it's still one way you can get metal. And no one, when you say stuff like that, no one's like, "You can't eat it," you know, like that's, I never liked that argument because it's pointless. Like you can't eat lots of things that we can't eat your guns, you know, but no prepper would say you shouldn't have guns.
Yeah, exactly. I guess you could eat a 9 mil pill if you had to,
Yeah,
but
right. Suck a muzzle if you're getting too hungry.
Well, I'm starving.
Right.
But I don't know. It's yeah, I guess. And a lot of people, it's funny. People think that there's this rabbit hole that everybody that in the prepping community is gone down. But you know, I'd rather have all this stuff and not need it than to be like, holy fuck, you know, the government isn't here. It's been 4 days and you know, I'm starving.
Right.
But I don't know. It's funny how people just don't really see the big picture of things.
Yeah, and I think, and I've said before too, that like there's an almost infinite number of scenarios you can come up with for various types of disasters or shit the fans. But in almost all of them, especially if we're looking back at ones that have actually happened in the past throughout human history, in almost all of them, having some sort of way to store wealth, keep it with you, carry it, is going to serve you very well in most of those scenarios. Like, yeah, there's scenarios where it doesn't matter how much money you have, you need the basics for survival, but none of us have ever said not to have food storage, not to get your, you know, guns and medical supplies and stuff. But after that, you know, there are some people out there that once they've got all that covered, still have money left over, luckily for them. And that's and you got to put it in something that's not, certainly better than keeping it in dollars with the way things are going.
Yeah, I don't know. It's I do find it odd that people have just forgot. Like again, down in the States, it probably was pretty bad, like it was up here in Canada when it came to buying certain things for your COVID preparedness.
Yeah.
You know, like luckily the trucks that never went down, nothing really. We're well stocked with a lot of things, but you know, there's some things that we just, you know, didn't get. Like the supply chain was good,
Right.
Wasn't the best, but yeah, people just keep forgetting that, which blows my mind.
Yeah, and I mean, we're definitely not out of the woods when it comes to like supply chain issues and shortages that could happen, especially if you talk about like I think it's there's a couple of these guys out there who do, you know, trend cycle forecast and everything. And a lot of people in the military side too are still predicting that we're going to have major conflict with China and Russia outside of what's currently happening over the next, you know, a couple of them have said in the 2025 to 2027 time frame is when we could expect to see something happen with China. So, you know, we're getting slowly starting to take back some of the manufacturing here in the US, or at least move it out of China specifically, but we still have a ways to go on that, and it's not going to be done within the next couple of years. So I actually have a list on Amazon of like everything I would like if all of a sudden I saw a headline that said China's blockaded Taiwan or anything like that, I'm just buying like everything on that shopping list, and because it's stuff that I've decided I think would go out, you know, quickest, is mostly made in China and stuff like that. So, or stuff that I just need the most.
It'd be like, are you talking about stuff that for prepping wise, or are you talking for stuff that isn't going to be shipped in to the States, or
both?
Okay.
Like anything that I could theoretically need for prepping or just for everyday life. You know, most of the stuff that I have specifically for prepping, I already have a stockpile of. But any like for example, just some sort of like toiletry that obviously I have extra. But if I know it's made a lot, in China, then I'm going to buy more of it, and stuff that I could barter with or whatever. I've just tried to come up with various things that I think will be most affected and then put them on the, and there's some things that I know, like tires, a ton of them are made overseas, but I can't stockpile tires, unfortunately. So that's one that everyone should try to check up on your vehicle maintenance and stuff. Make sure your tires are not about to blow out. Because
it's always, and that's why I always fill up when I'm running at, half a tank, I'm always filling up that vehicle just in case.
Yeah.
You never know. Like,
yeah, exactly.
I was in British Columbia last year, and we had a flood, and it washed out some roads. They had to ship up fuel from the States, right. And it's they rationed gas out in Victoria, like Vancouver Island there, which is quite crazy. But
yeah, one of the big ones is that I think is made in China still a lot is like over-the-counter medicines. Ibuprofen, Tylenol, stuff like that. So I have a decent stock of that, but it's still relatively expensive, so I don't have a ton of it because under normal circumstances I don't use it that often.
Right.
But it's something that if all of a sudden stuff coming in from China gets stopped butt cold, like that stuff will get very expensive. And so I would buy a bunch of that if I heard about any of the just any like stuff that has minor chemicals in it. And there's a lot. One of the things that they make a ton over there is any sort of textiles and clothing. Now, clothing can last a lot longer than people normally let it usually, but something like socks or underwear, if last minute you might want to stock up on those, stuff that would wear out more often than just like a t-shirt, But
yeah. Yes, the socks, underwear, who really gives two shits? But I don't know.
You can get away with not wearing underwear if you want, but like socks can mess you up if.
You definitely need socks.
Right.
If anyone's ever walked around with cold feet, or especially in the wintertime, it is
or if you just have to do a lot of walking and you're not used to it, your feet will get destroyed if you don't,
it's crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't work for 4 months because I was kind of waiting for my job to start up here. And then we started walking, 13 to 17 clicks a day. And I had a blister the size of a walnut. And I'll tell you, man, that hurt bad. Like I was just like, oh my God, like what the heck's going on here?
Yeah.
And if you're not used to walking a lot, which hopefully a little bit of luck, you kind of have a place that's close by that you can get to. But right. if you think you're going to be walking for the full apocalypse or the full 6 months or 6 weeks, or however long it lasts, you got another thing coming because yeah.
And another one I added on my list is like, or not necessarily for China specifically, but if any sort of nuke goes off, like even in Ukraine or even probably some kind of nuke test, but if it's a real nuke, I'm going to buy a bunch of the like Dirosafe and Iosat potassium iodides and just to resell because I think those will go out like that. They'll sell out instantly and be able to probably sell them for like twice what they're currently selling for.
Oh. Hey, it's kind of funny on my TikTok here. R. Kelly just joined. It says, hi from the Federal Correction Complex.
Glad he's watching. How long is he in there for? He got quite a while, didn't he? Like 20 years or something?
Hey, R. Kelly. How many inmates have you pissed on?
Yeah, right. That's wild. So let's see if we got any questions. And also, for those of you guys watching right now, I appreciate if you haven't seen the beginning, there's still a few hours left in the bug out bag giveaway. $1,500 worth of gear. It's free to enter. I'll be posting the link in the chat right now. And if you're watching after this, but it's still the rest, or it's still today, then you will be able to enter that. And then you can check out, I just launched my new micro version of the survival fishing kit. So this is the regular one, the deluxe. This one is a lot smaller, a lot lighter. It only weighs like 55 grams or something like that. And some little 60-ounce tin. Sorry, 60 milliliter tin.
So just for the people that are following me from on TikTok, where can they find that stuff? So
on Amazon is just Google survival fishing kit and then look for the Rule the Wasteland one. And you can go to rulethewastelandblog.com to find the contest, and it's still live for a few more hours. Practical Outdoors says, hey, how are you doing? I'm doing good. Thanks for asking.
How are you? What? How are
How are
yous doing?
Ewan's a doing? Yeah, it said Canadians get the shaft for the giveaway. And I was just saying this at the beginning. I did put US only because of shipping, but I was just saying if you guys want to enter and you're in Canada especially or somewhere else, if you win, I'll find out what it costs and I'll cover the first like $30 or whatever it would be, which is probably what it would cost to ship it anywhere in the US. And if you want to pay the extra, then I'll give you that option. And if not, then I'll just move on to a different winner. So if you guys are in Canada or somewhere reasonably close, just go ahead and enter. And if you're willing to pay a little bit above that for shipping.
Well, I'm definitely going to be putting my
yeah, because like I said, it's about
$1,500
worth of gear. I went through and priced everything. That's what it would cost to buy it all retail. So even if it costs you an additional $50 or $75 shipping, that's probably worth it for most people. But
well, shit, yeah, man. It's
I just couldn't let international people enter, freely and then end up having to pay $300 to ship it to some rural African spot or something. So technically, it's limited to the U.S., but
yeah,
I should be able to give most of you guys that option.
Just $1,500. That's
Sean says, I just received my fishing kit today. Awesome, man. Glad to hear it. I appreciate the support. I think that because I made the choice because I saw a lot of people like just didn't need some of the things that were in here. So you could get a lot smaller. Like you have your own knife already in your gear. You have a multi-tool or whatever. Just need the basics. So made it a lot lighter and smaller and cheaper. So
basic things for fishing. So what do you got? Some fishing line, a lure.
Yeah, it's got 50 meters of line. It's got still 25 hooks, a couple of little split shot sinkers, 1 leader, 1 bobber, a couple razor blades. So still got everything you need. And it also a lot of the ones I've seen, there's not that many options out there, but the other ones that are out there, they always have like an Altoid tin that has like a rubber band around it or like tape to keep it shut, or it's in a plastic bag. Like this thing actually screws shut, watertight. You can make char cloth in there or whatever. It's a little aluminum tin. Your shit's not going to fall out. You don't have to worry about it not staying shut on you.
So yeah, that's it makes sense. Advantage. I just want to send a shout out here. A good buddy of mine, Helping Horses Heal, has joined me on live tonight. Hey, Helping, it's good that you're here. I appreciate you coming in.
Yeah, someone says it only shows me a picture. Scroll down when you click that link. It should be the right page, but here it is again. The picture is big, so if you don't scroll down, it might be hidden depending on what your display is like. So if you can scroll down onto it should be under. It's not a very big, obvious entry mode. Like once you enter and prove that you're a human, then it'll drop down all the different ways to get additional entries. But all right, let's see.
Anybody here on TikTok, if you want to kind of watch us on YouTube here, I check out Rule the Wasteland on YouTube, and then you can kind of you can even throw in some comments, or you guys can throw in some comments here, and I'll do my best to answer them for you.
Yeah, or topics you want to. We're only 30 minutes in, so whatever you guys specifically want to talk about, I'm up for it. Like I said, I don't have any other additional topics that I like absolutely wanted to hit. Just wanted to get back on here and see what everyone's up to, talk about what's going on in the world.
What's your go-to thing for water? What's
for purification or what?
Well, yeah. So basically, I've seen a lot of videos on people, having water purification tablets. I got a few thousand of those in my garage, but they expire after a while, right? So
right. I think the best bet is filtration of some kind. I have a Catadine is what I call it. I just learned that apparently it's called Catadine filter. That is like the ceramic membrane filters. I have a Berkey countertop style one as well. I have an electric reverse osmosis filter that I use, for day-to-day life. So as long as power was still running, or I could use my generator, I could continue to use that as well. But my main options for like shit the fan type scenario is the Berkey and the Catadine. And then I have chemicals for purification. I have the calcium hypochlorite, which is enough you can make a chlorine solution for thousands and thousands of gallons. I have a little bit of bleach on hand. I don't tend to store bleach because it doesn't really last. So that's why I like the calcium hypochlorite powder, because it lasts longer. It does have a shelf life, but it's more in the 5 to 8 year range, and then you should get some more. But yeah, a couple filters, couple different chemical options. The sun oven itself can be used to pasteurize water. Like you keep it in there and it'll, yeah, basically pool shock. Just make sure it's pure calcium hypochlorite, which is actually kind of hard to find as sold as pure pool shock. Normally they throw in a couple other like anti-algae type chemicals. So just make sure it is pure. Same with bleach. You want unscented bleach, just sodium hypochlorite, whatever the is it 6% solution, whatever they sell, and you need like 8 drops per gallon with that.
Gotcha. I'm just Granny Clampett here is asking now about what the YouTube is. It's Rule the Wasteland here. I got it right up here.
Yeah, if you just Google or if you just search on YouTube Rule the Wasteland, it should pop up and it should show our current live stream too.
Definitely. So you should be able to see it here, Rule the Wasteland, just right in YouTube there. And there's a bit of a lag on the YouTube, but
yeah, just a couple seconds behind what you guys are probably seeing on TikTok,
which is great. It
says, what do you think about the F-16s and other weapon systems going to Ukraine? I think it's probably too little too late. I mean, I don't see anything that I think most of it's just they're older stuff. I mean, these F-16s are already what 30, 40-year-old weapon systems. And it's probably just an excuse for us to be able to buy more newer shit, you know, and they're still not going to get, they're not even going to get the F-16s for months still, as far as I know. They have to train them and everything. And with the stuff that the Russians have is going to make it tough for them to do anything, even with those.
Just like when they sent our 4 tanks, our 4 Leopard tanks over to the Ukraine, it's like,
right.
You know, they had to teach them how to use it, and then from what I understand, they already captured one of them. So now it's like all that information system they have. You know, it just the amount of stuff that we're sending is just. It's not only is it making us defenseless, but it's other countries that are sending stuff over, as well as it's kind of making their countries defenseless as well.
Yep.
Which is stupid.
Yeah, they're all like tapped out. It's weird, like Germany and everyone else. Like I really can see the merit to the argument that some people have made that they think Russia is doing this on purpose by, you know, they're pretty much exclusively using private military group, the Wagner group and stuff in Ukraine, and just letting them soak up with their conscript soldiers and everything, whatever the NATO's throwing in there, and it's costing a ton in resources, manpower, and material, and it's just all getting absorbed for the most part. And they're not replacing all that as fast as they should be. I think most of these countries plan on it, obviously, but a lot of them have already tapped out in terms of like they can't meet, like a lot of these European countries now, they're already probably borderline, but they can't meet the NATO requirements for like what they are supposed to be able to bring to the table in terms of, you know, tanks and soldiers and whatever, ammunition. So.
And, you know, you keep hearing the things where they're running out of ammunition. Well,
yeah, they've run out so many times.
How is that possible? How is it possible to run out of ammunition when, you know, billions upon billions of money is being sent over there?
Oh, you mean for Ukraine to run out? Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's just, man, I don't get how people are falling.
Yeah. Oh. Like I said, they provably lied about this. Like, you don't have to be pro-Russian, or you can be as violently pro-Ukraine as you want, but you can't ignore the fact that they've lied about a ton of stuff and just given us bogus information. So whenever they say something, it's not, I don't even necessarily assume that the opposite is true. It's just like they didn't say anything at all. I'm like, I don't know. That's not a data point that I can use because they're liars about all of it. And It does make me kind of think that the truth is probably the opposite. You know, like this, we're encircling, we pulled out on purpose, and it's so much of it is so like lame and bad, you know, like such weird cope. They're not even good at lying about it.
Well, I think because they got away with so many lies during the COVID pandemic that they're like, oh shit, you know what? These idiots are fucking falling for this stuff. You know what? Let's see if we can get away with this stuff. Or hey,
and there's just a huge cohort of people like if you read the comments of some of these, it's nothing but, oh yeah, we're gonna like we're winning. They're Ruskies are getting beat back now, and it's all this weird, just like really bad echo chamber type stuff. Where I think they're just, it's a pep talk. They're just trying to get their own people fired up. They're not really trying to convince the likes of you or me, let alone the Russians. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
just to keep their own people that are already in on it fired up and keep the money flowing, and if they can get enough people in the US and Europe and other, NATO countries to just keep sending more money, they'll say whatever they think was going to work.
Well, I'm sure you've done psyops when you're in the military, and
I wasn't exactly military intelligence, but
no, but you know what I mean, like just
oh, I know what you mean.
Learning about it, right? So
right.
Even doing psyops, being in like my biggest go-to thing was we're on an exercise for 7 weeks. Yeah. And of course, the first week it's been raining. It's miserable. Everyone's morale is shit. Yep. So then I used to say, hey, apparently, this exercise have already gone over its budget. We're going home next week. So it's something very believable. And then, of course,
and everyone's like,
someone tells another person, and then, another few people get, told. And then all of a sudden, everyone's like, oh, fuck, we're going home. It's 2 more days. And then, of course, the company sergeant major lines everybody up and says, I don't know where the fuck you're hearing this stuff. We're here for another 5 fucking weeks. And then the morale is just decimated. But, it's basically you tell one lie to somebody, and then you tell another person, and then everybody's thinking it's happening. It's just like how the news media is kind of playing, shit's people believe it. It's just, and
especially when they want to believe it, they'll like listen to, they could hear, 100 people tell them like, yeah, we're going to be here for the normal 5 weeks, but they hear one person say, no, I heard 2 days. And that's what your mind latches onto because you so badly want it to be true. I used to do this thing. It was my own version of a psyop when I was back in college where, you'd have the hour-long lectures, and at University of Florida is a pretty big school. So some of my classes would be these giant auditorium classes with hundreds of people in them. And normally they would start letting you out at like 4 or 5 minutes before the hour. So you'd have time to get going to your next class. But I would start like rustling my bag and like hitting the zipper, and like the noise of someone like packing up, getting ready to leave would kind of like take over. And you could get out of there like it would just start spreading like wildfire. You could hear the other people being like, oh, it's time, and then start packing up. And as soon as like everyone saw 2 or 3 people like getting ready to go and packing up, everyone would start doing it. And I had kept pushing it in this one class until I'd been getting them to do it like 12 or almost 15 minutes before the end of the class. Till at one point the teacher was like yelling, like, stop it, the class isn't over yet. Like,
but it just goes to show, how people believe such a tiny little thing, and then it unravels to the point where I think at this point they could say World War III is gonna it's gonna happen Tuesday, and then it's just gonna balloon to the point where people are gonna be buying everything up in the grocery stores again.
That's just gonna say, is that mindset on the other side. That's why it can be so dangerous, and what we've seen before with like the toilet paper shortages, and those were so minor things. And like I made a video about, there was like there's a gas pipeline into Vegas, and they were like, hey, we have to shut it down for maintenance. It should be down like 12 hours. And just that notification, like everyone went, there's like panic at a few of these gas stations, like lines up the block within, a couple hours of that. And then they fixed it within the time that they said even. But just imagine if it's something serious, like
I guarantee you right now, you could go to any grocery store, and then, actually this is homework for everybody that's listening out there. Go to any grocery store, I don't know, sometime this week, and I want to hear you guys report it back when we meet up again just buy 8 cases of water. And if someone says something to you, just say, I can't talk about it. And I guarantee you know what? I bet you, 2 people are buying 8 cases of water, and
everyone starts looking around like, wait, what's going on?
Exactly. They'll be like, what the heck's going on? And then, why are you buying so many water? Well, I saw somebody else doing it, and he said he can't talk about it. So obviously something's going on.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you, people are at the point now where anything can set them off. So it's kind of interesting to
more than usual. Yeah.
And really, 8 cases of bottled water is probably going to be good. It's good for your preps and such.
Yeah.
You know, throw a couple cases in your freezer if you got a, you know, big freezer. And you know what? Water is always, it's going to be good for you.
Yeah, you can't have too much water, that's for sure. But yeah, that's kind of what happened, exactly what happened with the toilet paper. Where like there actually wasn't any shortage yet, you know, potentially always can be, but it wasn't something that was really had an supply shortage for normal supply. But once everyone got worried, they didn't want to be the last out. You would go to the store and you would see that now it is starting to actually disappear.
Oh, it's great.
Then it
It's
just
great news.
snowballs. Yeah. And
And
that's going to
then,
happen with food and stuff.
oh man, when something finally happens, and it already is really, like,
Right.
I don't know how it is. Well, down in the States, it's I got a buddy down there. I play Call of Duty. Yeah, that's right. I'm a loser.
Nerd.
I was showing him packages of meat that we pay for, like pork chops, $19 or whatever. And he's like, dude, man, that's $6 down here.
Yeah.
Or, you know, big things of hamburger meat or steaks. And he couldn't believe how much in Canada we pay for that stuff.
Yeah.
And now it's going up because inflation, thanks to our supreme overlords, spending. And, you know, it's to the point where a lot of people just can't afford it.
Yeah, exactly. And then because I just posted on, I believe it was Twitter or something, that even though that like where was it? It was the default, like credit defaults, like consumer credit, like people defaulting on various loans and stuff, is at like an all-time high or matched with the all-time high, even though unemployment is still like an all-time low.
Right.
So because people, even though they haven't even lost their jobs yet, they're still already starting to default on their bills because everything's so fucking expensive and wages aren't going up.
Well, that's right, but that's the biggest thing that they always like to say. Oh, we just created, you know, I'll just say we just created 14,000 jobs. Well, that's awesome. You created 14,000 jobs, but I guarantee you those 14,000 jobs are part-time jobs.
Yeah.
And I bet you those people are getting, you know, 10 hours a week.
Well, also they played with the stats too, where a lot of these jobs, like people were furloughed or laid off for COVID related reasons. And so when they got their jobs back, then they counted that as like a created job. And I'm like, that's where they're like, oh, look, Biden created 400,000 jobs because these people had gotten laid off the year before. And then when those industries spooled back up, like it wasn't jobs created over, you know, 2 years ago. They just got them back, same people. So it's totally bogus. All the information out there is bogus these days.
Again, things given to us by the media, and then as soon as you start to play anything past their narrative, it's like, well, we can't talk about that, or oh, you're a racist.
Yeah, exactly.
Racist piece of shit.
You're like, wait, what?
Stop talking that stuff. You're racist. Like, go fuck yourself. Like, start being a news reporter from the 60s, you know, where they actually started telling real stuff, or where they actually went out to fight a story, not like,
right.
What can I, you know, talk about today that's complete bullshit?
Yeah, exactly. It's they don't do very much, if any, like actual investigative reporting now. And now it's just whatever they want people to think. Propaganda for the, you know, the current administration, it seems like.
Yeah, or what they're told to do. But I don't know. Anybody have any questions for us? And either in TikTok here or on in this
definitely
live here.
Pull some off TikTok.
Oh, thanks for the rose there, Auntie.
Yeah, so this is what it was. It says consumer delinquencies are equal to what they were in 2020 when everyone got laid off and didn't have any income. And so it's already equal to 2020, even with unemployment still at historic lows. So if people start to lose their jobs, or even if they don't, you know, things are still going to continue to get more expensive and cause a lot of problems. And
I heard down in the States, they were kicking out veterans in hotels to make room for the refugees coming in.
Yeah, for illegal immigrants. It's crazy, man. So crazy. And we're sending billions overseas. Billions. I did a video not too long ago about our government. They want to bring in 1.5 million refugees into Canada by 2025. But
then they talk about that, and then they go over here and they'll be like, there's a housing crisis,
Right.
got 35-year-olds living with their parents, something's got to be done. What are we going to do to combat this?
How about not add millions of people to the potential, like who need places to live, the pool of people who need places to live.
I hate to say it, but I used to be a conservative for a long, long time, but they're all guilty. Every single one of them is just garbage.
Yep.
I don't know how it is down in the States, but I imagine, well, I from what I understand, the election was robbed. Even the people on Biden's thing are thinking that it was robbed. So
says Canadian Garden Girl says it's like burger joints that say they sell only 100% beef. That just means there's no sheep, pork, chicken, and something. Yeah, maybe. And a lot. I mean, there's so much of that stuff is adulterated. I'm not sure if it's as bad in Canada, but here, like there's a lot of stuff that's banned in Europe that we use in our food. Like a Subway, the sandwich shops, they have to like call their bread like cake in some countries because of how much sugar it has in it. And they couldn't even call the chicken like chicken because of how much soy protein was in it. It's so adulterated, it's not real. So it's just garbage food so much of the time.
It is scary. I was even saying 5-6 years ago, I guarantee you that crap that we're eating McDonald's isn't meat. It's got to be something, because we throw away so much food that they have to be making. I don't know. They have to be making something out of this stuff.
Yeah, the Soylent Green. Yeah, now that I hate it when they add because now even like organic produce in some places is getting that weird what do they call it? Some coating that Bill Gates came up with. That they're like, oh, it's all natural, so and you can't even wash it off, and it's like some weird ass chemical. They're like, it's made from something natural. It's like, well, everything is like natural. Like, what does unnatural even mean? It doesn't exist. So they just play with it's real, isn't it? So it's made from the universe around us. How is it unnatural? So it's just a buzzword, but they're even, you can't even get like organic stuff doesn't even protect you. I'm going to try to start trying to buy stuff from like farmers markets and everything. I wish I had an actual, I need to find like a local rancher or something and just buy meat directly from them.
Well, there's a lot of places. I'm not sure down in Vegas there, but I know out here in Ontario, it seems like there's a farmers market pretty much on every 30 clicks. So
they definitely have a farmers market that I've been to. I don't know what the prospects are for like local meat, but you can grow stuff out here. It just takes a lot of water, and a lot of it comes in from nearby, like Mexico or whatever too. But certainly if you're in other spots, it's easier to find people or to grow your own. If I was obviously somewhere else, I would just grow my own.
Well, I hear you get a bunch of migrants. Maybe you can get them to, hand deliver it to
you. Yeah, maybe.
I don't know how hard it is to climb that fence, but
not too hard apparently. Put it
on your back, and
we do get avocados cheaply here coming in from Mexico. So that's cool.
Yeah, because they've been sitting in some dude's pockets. If you
just
ship over 400,000 people across that border wall, then that's a lot of avocados that get sold, right? So,
right. Yeah, it's wild. Yeah, but it's crazy. It's hard to avoid any of that garbage, but if you're in a position where you can produce anything like that, it's good.
I know a lot of people are saying a lot of stuff wasn't growing last year too. I don't know what that was up with that or what.
Yeah, there's some of those things that I heard kind of came and went. Like there was this for a while. There was a story in certain circles about like the chicken feed stopping them from laying. I don't know if anything came of that. I don't think that was a real thing. I think it probably just coincided with, that they said like Tractor Supply was poisoning the food or something. I'm like, I don't think that was the case, but I haven't heard any. I probably assume it wasn't because I haven't heard anything about it.
Yeah. Or just like, what was it, last month that aliens were going to be invading in April?
Right.
What the fuck were they hiding there?
Yeah, right. Yeah, I don't know. Who knows? And balloons were in the news for a while. It's crazy how like you think about all these stories and like that was just from the past 2 years or whatever. All this stuff.
It's unbelievable the amount of crap that's going on. But yeah, I don't know.
So let's do a couple. We can do a couple more questions. We don't have to end exactly at 7, but we've done about an hour. So I'll let you guys get back to your normal lives. But if you have a few more questions before the end, says my grow season here in Southwest Ontario is delayed due to cold weather and freezing nights. Yeah, that's right. That's not the easiest spot to grow everything, but you do have a water at least. Out here, it's an issue with heat and water for sure. But back when I was in Central Florida, you can grow a lot of stuff there. That's cool. Soil's not great there, but that's an easier thing to deal with. With compost and whatnot, you get tons of rain, and you're in basically a tropical zone almost of like 8 or 9, depending on what part of Florida you're in.
So, Canadian Garden Girl, we've had a lot of rain in Southwest Ontario the last couple days. I noticed that it was pretty good, but I've noticed that it's a lot really smoky, and I'm just curious. Do you think it's has anything to do with the Alberta fires?
Yeah, how is that? I know Canadian Prepper's talking about there's real bad smoke.
Oh, buddy, it is. Back home, where I'm at, it's real. Like the fires are mostly up north, but a lot of people are saying that it is so bad in Calgary and Lethbridge and Medicine Hat, and it's just it's getting really, really bad. Like the breathing quality is just garbage.
Yeah, that's rough. Not sure what the best solution is other than wearing like a mask or something the whole time. Use some sort of air filter.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be going through my air filters, until you really, really need them. But
oh yeah, not like gas mask filters, but yeah.
I just use a paper mask because apparently it's good enough for COVID, so it should be good enough for forest fire smoke, right?
Yeah, why not?
But
they can stop viruses.
Yeah, no kidding. Somebody's asking here the top 10 prepping goods. What is your the basics, obviously?
Yeah, that's a lot. I mean, I would obviously go with water purification and water storage. Obviously food. I don't know if I'm going to count all 10, but water, definitely. Food, protection, basic medical supplies, basic hygiene supplies. That covers so much. 10 is like, if you want more specific, you would break it down. But beyond that, like, think of just what you need to survive, then you're talking about just gear. So like the ways to do all those things, like ways to cook. Obviously, if you have food, you need some way to cook it. Power generation, light generation, communications. So that's one of my weak areas, honestly, is comms. And part of that's related to I just haven't ever been good at building, a local network to me of any kind. So I don't have anyone really to communicate with that's far away or even, reasonably far away. But I do have a couple, sets of like walkie-talkies and stuff if I got to jump in a couple of vehicles with somebody and whatnot, but I don't have the ham or shortwave or anything like that set up. So that would be my weak point.
I think the biggest thing you got to look at, do you have a bug out location? Well, then you can, you don't really have to worry about that. But if you're staying at home, well, you're going to have to look at, water. If the water's turned off or you can't have water, you should have water stocked. Ways to keep yourself warm, depending on exactly when the event is. Is it winter time? Is it summertime? Freeze-dried food. I say stock as much freeze-dried food as possible. It's light. Yeah. It's really expensive, but it's a whole lot better than trying to get out of your place with 100 pounds of canned goods, because
canned goods are definitely the heaviest. That's their major disadvantage. The freeze-dried stuff probably is the best overall. If you could just like snap your finger, like, what do I want in my preps? Freeze-dried is hard to beat. It's just expensive, and it isn't the most space efficient because it's full size, but the packaging and whatnot, but it's definitely the best. It maintains the flavor real well. It's super light, obviously. That's a huge advantage. It lasts super long time.
So one person here is ideas for protection for people without firearms. Now, there's so many things out there that you can go out and get. I went out and I picked up a paintball pistol. Nice. It's small, it's light, it looks like the real thing, and you put 7 rounds of paintballs into somebody's face, it's going to deter them to like, well, maybe I should get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, especially if it's one that you can adjust. You can really crank the PSI on some of those to where they'll mess you up.
but it also shoots rubber bullets. So
yeah, I was gonna say if you
really,
get some rubber ball about the same size, it'd probably do pretty good.
100%. Or you could get a crossbow if you have access to stuff like that. I know it's very Walking Dead for a crossbow,
Right.
but and it's only really a one-time use. So a crossbow is great for I don't know if you're going to be using for hunting and such, but a baseball bat, you start swinging with a baseball bat, you're going to screw somebody up.
Yeah, and if you want a bat, there's Cold Steel has these really good line of it's like a plastic basically, but it's super high density and they're borderline invincible. A lot tougher than a wooden bat actually. It won't break or anything like that.
Right.
So they're called I forget what, there's a couple names for them, like the Brooklyn Smasher or something, but those are great.
Yeah, and you don't want to like a lot of people, well, I have an axe. Well, you don't really want to use your axe for protection because
right.
You're going to be using that axe to cut firewood. Don't be using your tools to keep yourself warm or your prepping stuff. There's a lot of cool things out there that you can get, but I would suggest something that you could swing around pretty good and
just check the laws in your area. Like I know they did a stud, if you're talking about like melee weapons or like physical weapons, spears work really well, especially if you don't have training. Like I saw something they did once where you have to be extremely skilled with a sword to beat even an untrained person with a spear, just because of the reach and everything that you get on it. So
there's a good place, the Medieval Depot in Mississauga, Ontario.
Nice.
I'm plugging that guy because I buy a lot of stuff from him, but you can get spears, axes, swords, shields, chainmail, armor, you name it. This guy's got it. Medieval Depot, Mississauga,
that's cool. You get your
Ontario.
Because I always rant about how in all these zombie shows, they could be 10 years into a zombie apocalypse and people are still getting bit on the arm and on the neck. So like get your chainmail. And
100%.
The zombies wouldn't get you.
The only problem is I have to wait for the apocalypse diet for myself to fit into my chainmail because right now it's a little snug.
Yeah, a little bit too. That's okay. Give you a few weeks in, you'll be good.
100%.
So that should be good. Yep. That would probably be preferable to the apocalypse we're probably going to end up with, unfortunately, which will just be a totalitarian mess with intermittent utilities, but not completely gone. And instead of without rule of law, we'll get just rule by law.
Well, I always say, look at Hurricane Katrina. What was it, 7 days, and it was pretty much lawlessness.
Right.
They were shooting people that were looting in the streets. It was
they
crazy.
Still had the government going around trying to take guns from people. That's what's so unfortunate. So,
but I don't know.
Cool.
It's crazy the amount of stuff that's out there. There's so many things that you could do, and you know what? You could prep for one thing, and then it's something other's going to happen, and you're gonna be like, well, shit, I didn't prep for that. Now what? Yeah,
exactly. That's what I was saying. Like, there's no matter what your piece of, when we were talking in the beginning about like you can't eat gold, like there is any piece of gear or preparation that you do that you could find a scenario where it's rendered useless.
Oh, definitely. It's like,
so covering the bases is the.
You get a spear and it breaks,
right.
14 seconds in the apocalypse. Well, now what?
Yeah, exactly.
Now you got a mini spear.
Yeah.
But there's just so much stuff that you can get.
Yeah. So I think we'll wrap it up here unless you guys have any last minute stuff. But once again, I just launched the micro version of the survival fishing kit. So just check that out on Amazon. If you don't want the whole deluxe shebang, you can still carry the essentials. Someone asked me on a YouTube comment, they're like, oh, I got a question. You live in the desert. Why are you selling fishing gear? And I'm like, I'm not selling them to myself, bro.
Yeah.
Like I sell, size extra large shirts too that I can't wear. And like, but
Extra
I
large.
do still, yeah. I mean, like I sell the Killdozer shirts, but I sell all the sizes. Like I'm not selling it to myself. Like I do have the fishing gear in my bug out bag and in my gear because, I'm not necessarily always going to be right here. And also like even out here, like there's Lake Mead and there's our water spots within walking distance. There's this, several miles where there is still fish and everything. So it's still an
Right.
option, even somewhere out here. And there's everyone else in the country and other countries, there's a lot more of an option. So might be good news for you.
I'm still gonna look at purchasing a couple of those, I think, just to get them out here and hopefully or maybe
Yeah.
I'll just win that bag.
Yeah,
It's
exactly. The bag he's speaking of is the bug out bag giveaway that I'm doing. So I'll put the link one more time. You've got till midnight, I think. Tonight is when I think it's officially set to go off. So link is there. If you get to that page, like scroll down, the picture's big. It takes up most, so you have to scroll down to enter. But got a few more hours on that. But thanks for stopping by, guys. Appreciate it, Dan. Hopefully Shay will be able to make it. Like I said earlier, I didn't give you guys much time. I know on this one, that was my fault. I just said, hey, I can do one tonight. So he wasn't able to make it, but hopefully I'll be able to coordinate better next time.
definitely next in 2 weeks. We'll
Sure, let's plan on it. Yeah.
Okay.
If nothing else. Yeah, man. Appreciate it.